Okay, guys. So, yes, welcome to what I'd like to refer to as the first official AI Coffee Catch-up that is presented by Business Analysis Excellence and Eventio. Now, we are doing a bit of a soft launch, as they say, or a smaller group launch of this group, but we believe that this is going to grow into something really fun, and we'll be able to connect with lots of people around the world on this topic. But what I would like to talk to you, and before I do a proper introduction as to who I am and what this group is all about, I thought I'd jump straight into the agenda just to give you an idea of what we will be talking about and hopefully whet your appetite for some of these topics. So first of all, I'll give you a bit more information about the intent with this group and kind of where we're heading with the AI Coffee Catch-up. And then we will jump straight into artificial intelligence concepts and the whole AI wave. And Jean-Marie will talk us through some of those concepts that we should just lay as the foundation. And then we will look at the impact on knowledge workers and how we could future-proof our skills. And that's where I'll talk to you about some of my thoughts, but also some of the research that I've done within this particular space. And then a bit more fun, I'll do a demo of ChatGPT, and it will be in the context of business analysis and how you can use it. And I'll also demo some plugins with a future version of ChatGPT that I think you would be quite excited about, especially if you work in the project kind of space. And then if there's time, then I'll also share with you some other AI tools that are very exciting and potentially really relevant for you to use as part of your day job within the project world again. And then hopefully we'll have some time for some more reflections and questions around the whole AI topic and what it actually means to us. And then we'll talk to you about the next coffee catch-up and the topic that we're planning for that one. Okay, so let me start with asking you, just in the chat, to tell us a bit about how do you feel about artificial intelligence at the moment? Are you, number one, a little bit apprehensive but curious? Number two, you're overwhelmed, so you've dipped your toes in and you've started to see just exactly what this is, or at least you're starting getting a feel for it, so you might be feeling a bit overwhelmed. Or number three, you're excited, can't wait to learn more. Or maybe number four, something else. So I see we've got, okay, Lawrence, you're a 1, 2, and a 3. Wonderful, Isabella, you're a 3. That's really good. Jean-Marie, Sanchit, Christina, everybody is a 3. That's wonderful because I'm also a 3. Very excited about it, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So let's talk a bit about the group. It's not going to take long, but I do want you to understand what is the intention with this group so that you can hopefully remain part of the group as the months roll along. So the intention with this group is really to create a free community of business analysts, project managers, anybody within what I refer to as the knowledge worker space. Because we are the guys that are being impacted by AI, and I want us to collectively discuss the relevant topics that can help us take our careers forward and understand what it actually means for our careers. So this is becoming that forum for us to have those discussions. We'll also be sharing, obviously, what we learn in terms of knowledge. We'll discuss things that's concerning us with AI. And after today's session, I think you will see that there are some things that we need to start paying a bit more attention to. And then, of course, we'll do some fun topics of the day in terms of artificial intelligence and the tools and what it can do next, because it is moving really fast. And it is, like we all agree, very exciting. So then we will also start collaborating with some experts in the AI revolution so that we can not just have our opinions and our ideas, but to bring some of those people into this group to come and present to us as a community, so that we can all make sure that we've got our fingers on the pulse with this one. So that's the intention with this group. And as things evolve, we will find that there will be some topics that we want to do deep dives into, that we might create something like a workshop that you can go and say, okay, I want to deep dive into this topic and attend some workshops on that. So we've got things like that that will be part of this as well, and that we'll bring to you and share with you. But overall, the idea here is for us to just collectively put our minds together and see what AI means to us. So now a lot of you may have, because I know that I've really just invited my BAE community to this session today. So I know you would have had emails from me through Business Analysis Excellence. So you've got an idea of who I am. But just to be, I suppose, comprehensive. So I am Esther Lesting, and I am the founder of Business Analysis Excellence. I have been a business analyst for 20 years. I've worked across 3 different continents in a variety of different industries. In the last few years, I have really focused all my attention on education and coaching and mentoring of business analysis. And lately, I'm getting involved in very exciting projects such as this one, where it's all about artificial intelligence and the wider questions about how does this impact us in our careers. So that's in a nutshell who I am. And just for those of you that don't know, I think we've had this chat, but I'm in Melbourne. More specifically, I'm in the Dandenong Ranges outside of Melbourne. And it's a beautiful area in Victoria in Australia. And yeah, I live here with my husband and my furry friends. Jean-Marie, did you want to perhaps introduce yourself to the group?
Sure. I don't think anybody will know who I am. But my name is Jean-Marie. I'm from South Africa as well, same as Esther. I've also been a BA for many years. Have a huge passion for product management, product development, which is one of the exciting topics that you will be hearing more about soon in the future. And Esther and I just have a lot of similarities in the things we are passionate about and the way we like to work with people. So we have lots of exciting things up our sleeves that we want to share with you coming in the near future.
Right, thanks, Jean-Marie. Okay, so now we've got all those things out of the way. Now we can start talking about artificial intelligence and understanding the kind of fundamental concepts around artificial intelligence. So for me, it is because of this particular forum, but also we are at that stage of this evolution or revolution of artificial intelligence that I think it's probably a good idea for us today to cover a lot of different things that will come up in the future months. So you may find that some of the topics you will be familiar with and some you won't be, but we are going to touch now on the fundamental terminology around AI, just to kind of set that stage and set the foundation of what artificial intelligence is. And an interesting thing happened that I might just share with you before Jean-Marie takes us through these particular terminologies, is that I also, some of you may know that there's a Babok study group that I run on Facebook. And I thought, because if I'm so excited about AI, I thought I was going to go out there and ask them a question about, do they believe that AI will be impacting their jobs? And one of the first responses quite shocked me, in that saying, this person said, no, he doesn't think it will, because it's just really replacing some routine or automating some routine jobs, or routine tasks, I should say. And that was very insightful to me, to think that there are people out there that still believe that. And then I came across this analogy that I thought I'd share with you just before we delve deeper, that helped me to understand why AI is different this time. It's not just about automation anymore, but yet it's still just a tool. However, this tool is different in that every time you place an AI tool like ChatGPT back in the toolbox, it learns to be better next time it's used. And the more you think about that, the more profound that is. And I think our brains are not yet used to completely understand this, because it's such a huge change for how things will go in the future. Okay, so on that high note, I'm going to hand over to Jean-Marie to take us through some of these terminologies so that we can all have that basic understanding before we'll talk about the next side of this presentation.
Thanks, Esther. Yes, we want to cover some basic terminology in preparation for all the future sessions that are coming up so that we have a foundation to build on. And also just for you, if you come across these terms in the workplace, you already will understand what people are talking about and how these things work in the background. So 3 things we're going to be talking about today is artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. So let's go into a bit more detail about with each of those. Artificial intelligence is attempting to do things that are normally done by humans. We should actually be saying artificial human intelligence. So we already see machines that can understand spoken words, recognize pictures, make decisions, translate languages for us. There are many, many more things that we're not even mentioning here. So just as a start, that is what artificial intelligence is referring to. Now, how do these machines learn? Where do they get their knowledge from? The goal with machine learning is to enable that computer to take data that is available all over the internet, learn from it, update itself continuously, and improve its own performance over time. Now, there are several ways the machine can do this. So we're going to go into different methods of machine learning next. We want to talk about 3 methods of advanced learning models today. The first one is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforced learning. So just before I carry on, I'm just curious, how many of you have actually heard of these 3 learning methods? Can you just give me a thumbs up in the chat if you have heard about these learning models? Up until recently, I didn't hear about it. So if you don't have a thumbs up, I get it. I also didn't. Oh, we actually do have people who have heard about it. That's amazing. Okay, great. So let's go on to the first one called supervised learning. So what is supervised learning? In the first block at the top, you'll see data that has been labeled. Those labeled data sets have been mapped to specific outcomes in the bottom block. So what this does is this gives a machine an example of what the relationship between the input and the output is supposed to look like. What this then does is the machine will take that example of a relationship and then go to other data sets and solve problem in the same manner by using that same example relationship and applying it somewhere else. So one example of how this works in the practical real life world is when we use machines to analyze our customer churn data. Now, in the top block, we will have data such as demographic data, the customer's purchase history, customer feedback data. And that data would have been labeled and mapped to specific churn statuses, such as the customer continues to have a relationship with the company or they have moved on to someone else. So churned or not churned. So that's one practical example of supervised learning. That's fine. The next one is unsupervised learning. So in comparison to supervised learning, the input data does not have labels and it has not been mapped to the output at all. So what the machine then does is it looks for patterns in the data. And then it clusters the data according to, say, for example, transaction types. So one example in real life is credit card fraud detection. Let's say you have very specific beneficiaries that you make payments to on a monthly basis. The amounts are always between $100 to $1,000. So the machine will cluster your transaction types according to, for example, beneficiaries, types of transactions, amounts. If there is data that do not fit into any of those clusters, the machine will see that as an anomaly and will flag it. And that will tell the credit card fraud detection unit at the bank to go and investigate that transaction because it could be fraudulent, or maybe your credit card was stolen or someone hacked your bank account, something along those lines. Then the third method machines can learn is through reinforcement learning. So let's say the little dog there is the machine, and the environment the machine interacts with is the lady throwing a stick to the dog. The dog relies on the feedback after it's taken an action to know whether it was correct or incorrect in that action. So it will either receive a reward or a penalty. I can't explain in detail how it works technically in the back end, but it has to do with the coding. It receives digital rewards and penalties in the back end for actions that were correct and actions that need improvement. So an example of this is machines being used to manage inventory at warehouses or optimizing supply chain processes. So for example, the machine will keep an eye on the warehouse's stock levels and will flag or reorder as needed. So if for some reason the machine doesn't order the correct amounts and something goes out of stock, it will receive that feedback. The machine will update its processes and the way it makes decisions, and next time it should do better, which is super interesting to me. It's just amazing how I can't imagine how the machines make all these connections. But anyways, that's for the AI engineers to explain. Maybe we should have an AI engineer come on to one of these chats and explain this to us one day.
Definitely.
So on the next slide, there's another concept that I think also deserves more attention in the future, and that's called deep learning. And this is humans' attempt to copy the way the human brain works. So our brains have all these, makes a million little connections and pathways as we learn, neural networks they're called. So in machine learning, we are trying to do the same thing. We have our input and our output sides as always, but in the middle, we have all these hidden layers. And with machine learning, as it learns, it makes more and more little connections between all the different layers and components. So a good practical example of this is chatbots that we see on customer service websites. So let's say you're online shopping and you start a live chat. That machine and behind that chatbot takes all the data from the back and forth text chats and analyzes that data and makes more of these little connections so that it can keep improving the way it can answer you over time. So essentially it becomes a smarter chatbot. Do we have any questions about any of these before we carry on? Or does anyone have any interesting experiences or anything they want to share about this? All good, all good. We'll carry on then.
That was great, John-Marie. Thank you so much. You really explained it very, very clearly. And yes, you've already enhanced my own understanding of these concepts. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure.
Now let's shift gears to this news headline that I saw last week, actually. So I'm saying this week, but that's when I prepared the slides. That says mitigating the risk of extinction from AI should be a global priority alongside other societal scale risks such as pandemics and nuclear war. So I thought this is probably worth bringing to this group because this is also at the same time of being exciting and interesting. It is so huge and the impact of this is vast that I think some of those experts, if you go and you read that article, are concerned because they don't fully understand the scope of what this will be. So on that note, let's have a bit of a recap of the types of things that we as a group can start to pay more attention to by talking about it and sharing information about it. And one of those things, we need to start thinking about governance and regulation of artificial intelligence globally. Because the deeper you go with AI and the more you understand how it works, the more you'll be able to kind of visualize or understand what potential impacts it could have. And therefore, if it is possible to regulate, then we should do our best to regulate. We should also build ethical and legal frameworks for how AI can be used. Data security and privacy is already a huge thing for a lot of organizations. ChatGPT has been blocked from a lot of organizations because of data security and privacy concerns. So this is another hot topic for us to delve deeper into. And you'll see as we go through the slides that this will become a whole field of study and a potential new career area for people to start focusing on. But essentially, what we are learning, and the deeper we go with this, is that it becomes more important for us to understand these impacts as much as possible on ourselves and our careers, but also on the business side of things. How will it affect the way we do business? And of course, how will it affect our future? But let's now first have a bit of fun. I will now do a short demo on ChatGPT 4. Just show you a couple of examples of what it looks like and what it can potentially do. I will really just be whetting your appetite. So if you haven't used ChatGPT 4 before, I think after this, you'll probably go straight to sign up, hopefully, because it's a super exciting tool to play with. But let's try, I was going to try and keep this in the context of business analysis for us. Let me just share my screen so that I can do this demo for you. Where? There we go. It's sitting there, right there, waiting for me. So you should all now be able to see ChatGPT right in front of you. And I've got a blank new chat. So I've just clicked on new chat. I am a subscribed member of ChatGPT 4. And that's what I'll be demoing here. A lot of the first example that I'm going to share, you should be able to do with ChatGPT 3.5 or the free version, whatever they call that at this stage. So it's some you don't have to be a subscribed member to be able to get a lot of benefit from it. So the first example is going to be just using a straight instruction, textual instruction, to ChatGPT. And what I'm asking ChatGPT here is to write 5 high-level user stories for a new banking platform, which is used to establish whether somebody is eligible for a home loan. Include at least one Gherkin format user acceptance criteria in each story. So as you can see, I am being quite specific in what I'm asking ChatGPT to do. And another very interesting field of study is prompt engineering. So they call this particular ability of giving instruction to AI prompt engineering. Another area to explore, and I think all of us as business analysts need to become excellent prompt engineers. So another topic for another session. There's so much for us to cover and so much for us to do. But let's see what happens if I ask ChatGPT to do that for us. So there it goes. Sure, I can create user stories for a new banking platform. So this is really just to show you, give you a bit of a feel. And sometimes you'll also see, if you haven't used ChatGPT, the results will be different every time. Like with the previous time I did this, just to make sure that this is a sensible example for this purpose, it would give me SQL code instead of what they call here VB.NET or VBNet code. But it is in the Gherkin format, as you can see. So it's doing exactly what we asked. It's giving us a user story in a proper user story format, and it gives us acceptance criteria to start with. Typically, what works well with ChatGPT is if you give it a fairly high-level task to start with, and then you can ask it to drill down into more detail. So you could potentially take user story 2 and ask it to elaborate with specifics where you give it more instruction. But for the purposes of what I'm doing here, I just really wanted you to see how easy and how quickly ChatGPT can help you as a business analyst come up with your base set of user stories. Now, one caveat, just coming back to data privacy and all of data security, be very mindful as to what information you provide ChatGPT in terms of your organization's data and privacy rules. So keep your requests, if you do have access to ChatGPT at work, keep your requests quite generic and protect your organization's data. But you can still use it and you can still make progress a lot faster, become a lot more efficient, and cut out a lot of unnecessary hours and days of trying to get somewhere to start from. It's a very, very good way to expedite your elicitation and validation. You'll still go back and validate all of this, of course, and you'll still refine it. You'll still edit it to make it very specific to your environment. But it's a great starting point to just cut out a lot of time. And one other thing that you could also do is what could be useful is if you do have a bunch of requirements that are de-identified, you can ask ChatGPT to reword all of those requirements into a user story format, if that might be one of the things that you're supposed to do for your next requirements piece. But this is just one example. So this is if you use ChatGPT just in a straightforward way. Now, what I've discovered recently is that ChatGPT 4 also has a plug-in store. So what this is, it's giving you access to other different types of AI tools through this interface. So you can, in fact, go to the plugin store and you'll see there are hundreds of different plugins that you can choose from to install and to use in conjunction with what you're doing with ChatGPT. Super fun. You can get lost in this store trying to find different tools to do different things. So it's a great place to go have a play. But what I've prepared for us is I've got 3 plugins. It allows you to do 3 at a time. And if I get my second example ready, one thing that I've been looking for is I wanted to be able to draw diagrams with ChatGPT. I mean, imagine how cool that would be if you can just ask ChatGPT to come up with a concept diagram based on your description, or come up with a process diagram, or whatever. So I am still digging for the best tool for this. However, I did find one that is attempting to do just that. So here I've got an instruction where I'm saying, please draw a process diagram showing the steps of onboarding a new employee in a large bank. Include at least 5 steps in this diagram and show it sequentially. So let's see what it does. So what ChatGPT will do now is, when it gets going, it is showing you which plugin it's using to basically fulfill your request. And on my computer, it takes a little bit of time, but here we go. So it draws the diagram for you. It writes out the steps as well. And it allows you to click on editing this diagram online. So you can go and look at this and think, okay, that's a start, but it's not quite what I need, or I need to have more detail, and you can simply go edit it. So click on that link, which I'm not going to do right now, but it's just awesome. You can even ask it to give you a conceptual diagram of what I've done. Is I've played with saying, can you explain with a diagram the concepts, how these different concepts relate to each other? And surprisingly, it comes up with very logical conceptual diagrams as well. So it's a great tool, and it's a lot of fun to use. Now, the very last tool that I just want to share with you is this plugin that I've signed up for. And this is really just a fun one that basically is called, is there an AI for that? So I'm just saying, can you tell me if there's an AI that can help our team make logical decisions using decision trees? So what it will do now is it will say, okay, I'll use the plugin. There's an AI for that. And then let's see what it tells us. So basically what it's doing, it's listing a few different AI tools that you can go and do some more research into to achieve that goal of doing the logical decision trees. So this is just a very short, like I say, demo of what you can do with ChatGPT. I mean, the sky's the limit. It's very good at summarizing information. It's very good at explaining concepts as well. If you might be new to an organization and maybe they do superannuation and you have never worked in superannuation, ChatGPT is a great teacher. It can give you the basics that you need to know within seconds. So it's an amazing tool that can be applied in more ways than what I can even comprehend right now. So let's jump back to our presentation. So that was just a very short flavor. Now, what I want to talk to you before our time runs out is the impact of artificial intelligence on knowledge workers' jobs. I came across this YouTube, and again, I've got this link that I can email you afterwards, of a very, very good YouTube video to watch that was done by a guy that has looked at the OpenAI research as well as Goldman Sachs results around what types of jobs will be impacted most by artificial intelligence. And what this diagram is showing us here is that we've got basically, they are showing the number of years that it takes typically to train for that particular zone job. Like, for example, here we've got zone 1 is jobs where you really don't need a lot of training, less than 3 months. And then zone 4 and 5 is where you need to train for at least 2+ years. So typically graduates, people with diplomas, people with higher degrees. And these two groups, these are the knowledge workers we talk about. And this time around with AI, this is the highest impacted group, is basically us. So we are quite used to, and we're quite used to hearing about factory workers losing their jobs because of robotics, or we could always look at it from a distance. But this is part of why I've got this group set up with Jean-Marie, is we need to start talking about this, because this is actually impacting us directly. And you are here today, and I think you are very aware of the fact that this is massive change is coming. You are excited about it. I'm excited about it, because we are running alongside it. So hopefully a lot of other people will also start to embrace this change. But here, just another report. Yes, there will be a huge number of jobs replaced by 2025. But they also believe there would be even more jobs. 97 million new jobs will be created. And interestingly, they are saying that it would be around maintaining AI effectively, and specifically looking at the role of ethics and safety and security factors. So just like we were just saying, those are the really important things that we need to start thinking about urgently. So this is where the jobs will go. Now, this is just a way where I have broken this down, my own kind of, I suppose, interpretation of how our jobs as knowledge workers will be affected. So I've broken a knowledge worker's job into 3 different sections, or different types of tasks that we perform: routine tasks, non-routine tasks, and value-add tasks. Now, we don't do a lot of routine tasks. So in reality, this pie chart should show a much smaller routine task element within the jobs that we do. But we do quite a lot of non-routine tasks. So I look at non-routine tasks as those types of tasks where you need to pull information from different places and generate an outcome that is somewhat unique and custom. So it's non-routine. So that makes up a lot of what the business analyst does at the moment, is you're always pulling data or pulling people into a room to kind of figure out something. It's not something that you go and do and every single day is the same. Every single day, in fact, is different. So our jobs are a very big part of it is non-routine. Then another big part of our jobs is the value add. And with value add, I'm talking about all the soft skills, all the relationship building, the human side of the role. So building connections, building trust, using your emotional intelligence within your work environment. And also leadership skills, your ability to motivate your colleagues, to be kind of an inspiration. Those elements of our jobs are actually quite a significant part of the job. And value add is what I use. The term value add is to refer to that. However, I don't know about you, but a lot of us have taken those value add skills for granted in the past. I've certainly, if I had the professional development opportunity, I went straight for technical skills. I didn't necessarily go and do a leadership course or how to be a better negotiator. And I know those courses exist and I know people do them, and that's really good. But it hasn't been my priority. So I'm not sure how you've looked at soft skills and soft skills training. But how I see AI evolving, and I think it's already happening, routine tasks, we all know, is replaced by AI. That's just what's happening right now. But even the non-routine tasks are now being supported by AI. So this is important for you to realize, is that you need to use AI to support you with your non-routine tasks to be able to keep up with everybody else and the world effectively. And then the value add tasks, AI cannot, I say, easily replace or support this side yet. And I don't think it will, in the long run, be able to do that quite the way we do it. So this is, for me, a clue as to where we need to start looking at to develop our careers for the future. And it comes down to two main areas. The one is, I feel we should become experts in utilizing artificial intelligence tools to help us with that non-routine side of our roles. And our non-routine sides will also be shaped and changed, but we just don't know exactly how. But becoming a real guru with utilizing AI and embracing it will only be able to, you'll only be able to help yourself going forward. And then we should also put a renewed focus on value add skills, because this is something AI can't take away. So if you start shining a light on this side of your career, it will definitely stand you in good stead combined with AI skills. So just a few actionable things that you can potentially do. And this is also part of the types of topics that we are going to start integrating into these sessions and workshops and so forth, is learn prompt engineering. So like I touched on during the ChatGPT demo, learn prompt engineering is really important, because that's the way you actually get the best artificial intelligence tools. And it's a whole field on its own. There's so much to learn, and it's actually quite exciting. And it fits a business analyst actually like a glove. So let's jump into the prompt engineering, but also explore all those other tools out there and find ways that it could help you be more efficient, more productive, and have higher quality results. I think the days of you trying to come up with something that's got your flavor on it in our type of work may be gone, because there are requirements already done for whatever it is you want to do. And if it's not exactly that requirement, it will be close to it. So make use of AI to help you work faster and at a higher level of quality. And then, of course, with value add, we know this is the types of things we can do. We can start building stronger networks with people, have stronger relationships, focus and take more time to develop our individual, unique and leadership skills. Okay, so enough about the careers and kind of where it's all going from a high level. I also have this slide, and I'll just very briefly touch on this slide. And I've got a wonderful team of business analysts that has given me some inputs with what to put on this slide. And Jenny.ai is a tool that I've specifically heard from via one of my team, somebody called Penny. She was telling us all about Jenny.ai, which is another advanced language helper. And then the only other one I really want to mention here is Gamma.ai. This time I used my MacBook to present, but next time it might be with Gamma, because Gamma is an amazing way to share your presentations and collaborate on developing presentations together. And then there's a whole host of other ones. I've showed you this one in my demo, and I've showed you this one. But there are some amazing other ones on this list. And as you can imagine, this is just a drop in the ocean that you should look at. Now, I will share this as well with you. I've already got it all ready to go as an email, so that you don't have to try and scramble to make a list of these items. So really then, just to summarize for us, during this session today, we are starting to realize the scope of AI, and that people are on the, I suppose, the global scale, starting to see this as a potential threat if we don't act. If people don't put those things in place to govern it and to protect data and so forth, then we have to start looking at data security, ethical standards, regulations, and global governance as an important next step. Thank you to Jean-Marie, who's given us the very, very nice explanations of these initial basic foundational terminology. around machine learning and deep learning and how it works. And then, of course, we talked about the impact on us and how it could potentially impact our futures, and some AI tools to share. Now that we've gone through all that, first of all, thank you for listening. How do you feel now? Are you still excited? Are you getting a bit worried? Have you learned something new? Do you have any questions or any remarks that you'd like to make? I've got someone in the chat. You're still excited? Is that you, John Marie? That's good.
I feel like this is a big, new area for business analysis, the AI world. I thought that before coming into this, but this was actually quite good. Give more of that context information. But yeah, I guess I'm excited.
Oh, that's good, Ethan. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, now it is new, it is exciting, and yes, it's definitely going to impact the way that business analysts work into the future. So yeah, and Christina, you can't wait to go try some of the tools. Isabella, you're also excited, and you had no idea about the flowchart plugin. Yes, I know, that's a fun one. So yeah, look, guys, this is very exciting for me, and I look forward to having a lot more of these sessions. Next time, in fact, our topic will be productize your skills for profit using AI. So it's quite a fun topic. I think it's relevant because of our careers are changing. And if we can productize ourselves and our skills with the help of AI and have some profit come out of that, that is definitely something for people to consider. Now, if you want to, Shana, you're saying you're a little uncertain about the future, but you think it will be exciting to learn using the tools. Yes, I'm with you. The more you learn, the more you realize there is a bit of uncertainty out there. But yes, it's exciting. So if you register at aicoffeecatchup.com, you'll be able to receive notifications of the next sessions and invitations to these types of Zoom sessions or webinar sessions. I'll also share with you the links that we discussed and so on. You know, if we've got any new special workshops coming up, we'll let you know about those as well. But essentially, this will just keep you in the loop as to next sessions if you wanted to attend another session. But apart from that, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate having you here, and I look forward to go on this journey with you. And thank you, John Marie, for your part of the presentation too.
Nice to meet you all, and please let us know if there's anything that we spoke about today that you want us to delve in deeper about with next time, so that we can focus on those topics for you.
Great. All right, guys. Well, have a wonderful rest of your days. And we'll hopefully see you again next month. It's a big pleasure, Christina and Shana.
Thank you.
And Isabella. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.